For decades, we've been told a story about small-town America, a story of decline. We see it in the boarded-up windows on Main Street, the for sale signs lingering on lawns, and the young people who leave and supposedly never come back. We've felt the slow, quiet erosion of places that once felt like the center of the world. But what if that story is starting to change? What if the steady drumbeat of decline isn't so steady anymore? Since 2020, something remarkable has been happening. After a decade of population loss, rural counties in the United States have started growing again. And it's not just a small blip. Young adults aged 25 to 44 are moving to small towns and rural areas at the highest rate in decades, fueling a revival. So we're at a turning point. Some towns are catching this new wave while others are still caught in the past. What separates the ones that are booming from the ones that are busting? The answer isn't always a new factory. It's something else entirely, something we've been overlooking, and it's been right here the whole time, waiting to be unlocked. To understand the solution, we have to be honest about the classic spiral of decline that so many towns have feared. It's a vicious cycle where one failure feeds the next, and it happens in three deeply connected ways. First, there's an economic hollowing out. For generations, a town's identity was forged in the fires of its industry, the factory, the mill, the mine. These weren't just jobs, they were the scaffolding of the entire community. But as the world shifted, the scaffolding started to rust and then collapse. The jobs vanished, and with them the security and sense of purpose they provided. The result was a brain drain, where the most ambitious young people left for the big city, leaving behind a shrinking tax base and an aging population. As people left, property values collapsed. Homes, small businesses, and town buildings fell into disrepair. That emptiness became another reason for more people to leave, forcing local governments to make difficult choices. Funding for everything becomes less secure: the arts, the library, the fire department, schools, and infrastructure. Second, there's the poison of political division. The anger that dominates our national headlines seeps into our communities, turning city council meetings into shouting matches and school board elections into culture wars. Neighbors who once borrowed sugar from each other now glare at the political signs in each other's yards. The very idea of a common good starts to feel like a relic. This gridlock is paralyzing. Progress stalls, every proposal is seen through a partisan lens, and every compromise feels like a betrayal. The machinery of local democracy, which should be an engine for progress, becomes partisan and divisive. And finally, feeding on all this is the erosion of social fabric. Think of the places where community used to just happen: the local diner, the bowling alley, the church basement. These third places outside of home and work were where the tapestry of a town was woven. As they disappear, we retreat into our homes and social media echo chambers. We interact with fewer people who are different from us. Trust evaporates in our institutions, in our leaders, and worst of all, in each other. This social isolation has a real human cost, showing up as loneliness, addiction, and a pervasive hopelessness. This is the story of inevitable decay we were all sold. A story of economic forces we can't control and divisions we can't heal. But some towns are proving that story wrong. They aren't waiting for a superhero to come save them. They're becoming their own. In an era defined by what divides us, one type of organization has been quietly proving its ability to unite communities and deliver real, tangible results. It's not new, it's not flashy, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. It's a solution that grows from the ground up, rooted in the very soil of the places it serves. The institution is called a community foundation, and it is the single most powerful and overlooked tool for local revitalization in America today. So what is it, or what could it be for your town? Think of it as a town's own supercharged charitable savings account. A community foundation is a public charity that pools donations from local people, families, and businesses to create a permanent endowment. That permanent fund is then managed by a board of local leaders who know the community inside and out. They use the investment proceeds to give grants and fund projects that benefit their specific town or region forever. Community foundations are place-based, meaning their only loyalty is to their community, and they think in terms of decades, not just the next quarter or election cycle. Their power lies in how they reverse the three currents of decline: economic, political, and social, all at once. First, they are a quiet economic powerhouse. The roughly 900 community foundations in the United States hold more than $132 billion in assets. During the shock of the COVID-19 pandemic, community foundations across the country mobilized billions in rapid response funding to support everything from food banks to housing assistance. But it's not just about grants. They are masters of impact investing, providing low-interest loans to help a local entrepreneur get started, investing in affordable housing construction, or funding job training for skills the local economy actually needs. They can turn an abandoned building into a vibrant marketplace or help a family farm transition to a new generation. Because their capital is permanent, they act as economic first responders during a crisis, injecting stability precisely when it's needed most. Second, and maybe most importantly, they are civic unifiers in an age of division. A community foundation is one of the last truly nonpartisan players in American life. Its mission isn't tied to an election, but to the enduring well-being of its home. This gives them a unique power to bring everyone to the table. The conservative mayor, the progressive activist, the chamber of commerce, and the local pastor can come together to focus on a shared vision. While trust in almost every other institution has been plummeting, community foundations leverage local trust to build the consensus needed to move forward. Third, they are the weavers of a resilient social fabric. They fund the entire ecosystem of a healthy community. The arts that give a town its soul, the environmental groups that preserve local parks, and the youth programs that give kids a safe place to go. They are profoundly responsive to local needs. They don't just treat symptoms, they invest in long-term solutions that break cycles of poverty and create a legacy of opportunity. Imagine what our country would look like if every community had its own permanent, massive endowment dedicated to fighting poverty, creating jobs, and healing division. This isn't a fantasy, it's an achievable reality, but it requires a fundamental shift in how we think about solving local problems. It requires a next new deal for America's communities. This new vision recognizes the best solutions aren't imposed from the outside, they are cultivated from within. It would start with a major public-private commitment to grow the endowments of community foundations, especially in underserved and rural areas. This could take the form of matching grants, where every local dollar raised is matched by public funds, turbocharging a new generation of local giving. This new deal would also empower community foundations to become stronger advocates for systemic change, helping them gather data, build coalitions, and champion policies that truly benefit their communities. It would recognize that grant making is just one tool in the toolbox, and that shaping local and state policy is essential for lasting impact. And this approach would embrace innovation. It would fund pilot programs to help community foundations test new models, like developing funds for specific issues like climate change or early childhood education. These programs would attract younger, more diverse donors who want to see a direct link between their giving and the results. The future of philanthropy is more democratic, more engaged, and more local, and community foundations are perfectly positioned to lead that charge. This is about rebuilding America, not from Washington, D.C. out, but from our neighborhoods and towns in. So what can you do? This renewal doesn't start with an act of Congress. It starts with you. First, do a simple search. Find out if your town or county has a community foundation. If you have one, go to their website, read their reports, see what they're funding. You might be shocked to discover the incredible work they're already doing. Second, if their work inspires you, get involved. You don't have to be a millionaire to be a philanthropist. Community foundations will help you donate any amount to support the causes you care about in your own backyard. Volunteer for one of their partner nonprofits, attend an event, become an advocate. And third, if you discover your community doesn't have a foundation, start the conversation. Talk to a local business owner, a pastor, a teacher, a city council member. Share this idea. A community foundation begins the moment a small group of dedicated citizens decides the future of their home is worth fighting for. The story of your town's future is not yet written. The old narrative of decline is just that, old. The forces of decay and division are powerful, but they are not invincible. Hope isn't a lottery ticket. It's a tool. And in the Community Foundation, we have a tool that works. It's our best hope to build a future where our towns are not just surviving. If this changed the way you think about the future of your town, give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss our next story. And let me know in the comments, does your town have a community foundation? And have you seen its impact firsthand? Thanks for watching, and see you next time.